Thanks for tuning in. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel. I release a legacy video every Friday. Hello everyone, Martin here, back with another legacy video. Before I get started, I want to spend just a little bit of time talking about this week's banned and restricted announcement. If you're sick of talk like that, or you just want to skip ahead to the video, there's going to be a time code flashing right about now, and you can just jump ahead to that. Alright, so I'm recording this on the day of the announcement, which is June 30th, and you'll be watching this on, or the video will at least release on this coming Friday. So we're less than a week out, and the initial reaction seems, at least a couple of hours after the fact, seems to be very, very negative. I am also quite disappointed and quite surprised that no action was taken. But I will say that I don't really feel like I have good access to any data that would be needed to actually be well informed on this. So it's mostly going off of sort of experience of the league play that I engage in with Legacy and community sentiment. And that can be far removed from facts, I suppose. But let's just quickly run through this. So they announced that there were to be no changes. Specifically, they mentioned Dimiri Reanimator and Oops All Spells. They mentioned how Dimiri Reanimator has, or is the most played deck, but doesn't have a win rate that warrants a ban. And that also that its metagame representation has shrunk a bit. The only data I have been looking at is this that you see here from MTGO Goldfish, where it's pretty clear that at least by whatever metrics they measure, I'm not sure if this is 4-1 or better league play and or top 32 finishes in challenges. I think it might be, but I'm not going to go ahead and say that I know for sure. By some distance, the Dimiri Reanimator is the most played deck. And if you take the 19.3%, the 235 decks, and combine it with the 71 decks from Dimiri Tempo, we're at like I guess a quarter of the played decks are Dimiri decks doing similar things, whereas a majority of them seem to believe that the Reanimator part is worth splashing for. By comparison, Oops All Spells is not a very highly represented deck, but I'll get back to Oops. With regard to Dimiri Reanimator, I think that we as a Legacy community and we as Legacy players tend to get tired of the same thing being the most played and perceived as the best. And I don't know if Dimiri Reanimator is the best deck. Wizards of the Coast have not released any, to my knowledge at least, any win rates across the format, so I don't know. I know that there's a data mining team led by Joe Dyer, I believe, but I don't know the quality of the data that they are. I know they're like scraping results from challenges and stuff, but I don't know how like well cured that data is and how reliable or how sort of how all-encompassing it is. So I would rather not make my sort of judgment based on that. But suffice to say that they say that the win rate is not problematic. So I'm going to go ahead and believe that. And if that's the case, then, okay, maybe by that metric, then it's not a big problem. But if like everyone is playing Dimiri Reanimator, it just gets so stale, right? And yeah, I don't know. It seems like most people were expecting something to happen here, myself included. The fact that it hasn't happened, the fact that like 20% of the decks that are represented here are Dimiri Reanimator, it's a little bit disheartening. Alright, so with regards to Oops, they also mentioned that, and we just saw that Oops isn't that represented, and just anecdotally, I will also say that at least in league play, I don't feel like I'm facing much Oops. I feel like I'm facing Oops All Spells like maybe once every third or fourth league that I play. Obviously, that's just me, but that's just anecdotally. Um, they do go on to acknowledge that some people really dislike what it feels like playing against Oops All Spells, and they even go on to describe that as Oops All Spells abusing the game engine more than actually playing a game of Magic, which I think is probably somewhat accurate. I'm a little bit surprised that they go so far as to actually make that explicit. They also then say that for other people, the very fact that a deck is able to do that is sort of an illustration of why the game engine is really cool. And I understand that if you fall into the camp that feel the former, the latter is not going to be much comfort, but I can kind of understand where they're coming from. I I don't know. Like I think people don't like losing, myself included. No one likes losing. And a lot of the time games of Magic feel like zero sum games where like one person is winning and having all the fun and the other person lost and felt like they didn't get to play any Magic. That is kind of factually also true if you lose before you get your like first turn of the game. You didn't play any Magic. Um, but I think I actually fall on the side of wanting the data to drive the decisions here, and especially win rate. I know that sentiment also matters, and Wizards have even made that explicit earlier that they do care about community sentiment, I guess. But people, we all have things we don't like losing to. I mean, I hate losing to Chalice of the Void or Blood Moon. Like, I hate games where, like, I kept a hand on the draw and it was like 2 lands and 5/1 drops, and my opponent goes, Ancient Tomb into Chalice, and I'm looking at my hand and it's like, okay, well, I mean, I guess I don't get to play any Magic. But I would never, at least currently, um, I would never think that the correct thing would be to ban Chalice of the Void, right? But if suddenly Chalice of the Void specifically enables some deck to win like an egregious, at an egregious rate, then maybe it's a different conversation, right? And I just feel like if I don't like losing to Spell spells, but as long as it's not like unreasonably good, then I just accept that that is also part of Legacy. And so far, I have not been shown that it is unreasonably good. And I think unreasonably good only really is something that we can measure with like in win rates. And we can either then choose to say that we don't believe what Wizards have told us here, or we can believe it. But they say here, they even say that because of the community, that let me just quote this: given the strong negative reaction some players have to playing against this deck, the bar it has to clear for us to take action against it is lower than some other decks. But for now, we are happy to let such a unique deck have a place to exist within Magic. And this, them being happy, can be referred back to its win rate. Yeah, they say that for now the deck is showing up at a range that is acceptable for decks in the format and has a win rate that is within permissible ranges. So, I mean, if you accept that, then why are we banning this deck? Um, I I don't know. Maybe there should be different win rate sort of benchmarks to clear for different types of decks. Like maybe we're okay having a fair creature deck having a slightly higher win rate than we would be okay with having a degenerate combo deck or a like hardcore prison deck. And I hope that I actually think that that would probably be a good thing to like, and I wouldn't want to be the one to come up with what the different win rates needed to be, or even if it's correct for me to take that approach. But if it were, but as long as this like I think it's fine that there are like weirdo, really really off the wall, off the beaten path combo decks, and I also think it's okay that they're kind of good. They just can't like be too good, right? So I guess that's, I don't know. Maybe that's a controversial take. I understand that a lot of people wanted Oops gone. I also just maybe am influenced by the fact that I don't really see it a lot in leagues. Maybe if I played challenges more often, I would face it more, and it would become apparent to me why it's too good. I don't know, but just finally, I want to touch on what I think is probably the most frustrating thing about this, which is the fact that the next B&R announcement has been announced to be the 24th of November. Yeah, the 24th of November. I just had to double check that. And that means it is, I think, like about a month after Eternal Weekend North America, but it's like a couple of days before Eternal Weekend Europe. So what we can infer from this is North America Eternal Weekend is going to be this format, unless something, I don't know, unless they somehow decide to intervene outside of the ban and restricted announcement cadence, which I don't see that they would. That means that North America Eternal Weekend is just locked into this format. That a pretty vocal part of the community is very upset about. And it also means that probably the same is true for Eternal Weekend Europe, but it would almost be even worse if they actually do shake up the format on November 24th, because that is like when some people are getting on the plane to go to the tournament in Italy, and how are you, like, just the uncertainty that that means for people. Potentially myself included. I don't know. I haven't ruled out going to that tournament yet, but like, imagine you just know like you're making all your plans. One thing is testing, but another thing is just actual like card availability and whatever. Imagine if they ban something on November 24th. There's just gonna be a scrap for people to get, like, to make new decks, to maybe get new cards. I don't know. It honestly feels like they're not being very considerate of what this actually means for the few of us legacy players that are still left in paper. Yeah, it's just that's probably what has me bugged the most, and I wish they would somehow handle that a little bit sort of more gently or elegantly. All right, so enough about that. Now let's talk about this legacy that we have and this deck that I'm playing today. And I am playing. I'm trying this. This is the first time, a turbo version, but with Demonic Counsel. So if you saw my last video, I tried Demonic Counsel in Esper, and I had really good results. The league was, I think, a 3-2 league, but like the preceding two leagues were both trophies, and I was really impressed. But I want to see what Demonic Counsel can do in other sort of variations of Doomsday, and I wanted to try a little bit of a faster Doomsday list. So this is a pretty true to the concept turbo list, except we're not playing Personal Tutor because we're playing Demonic Counsel instead. To enable that, I have cut one bauble, so I'm on 3 baubles and 3 petals, down from 4 of each from the Esper list. I'm playing 2 Street Wraith, so that's another creature. I'm pretty happy with like having a couple more creatures, or like one more creature. And then I wanted to try something which is, I don't know how this is gonna go. I remember seeing a Doomsday list playing this deck or this card like a while back. So this is Omen of the Sea. It's an enchantment with flash. When it enters, you scry 2 and then draw a card. And then it's just an enchantment that sits in play and doesn't do anything, but you can at any point pay a blue and 2 and sacrifice it to scry 2. So this is a somewhat convoluted way of getting some card selection and us like cycling itself, and then eventually getting an enchantment into the graveyard to enable Delirium. That is probably not going to happen that often, but I wanted to try it. I've been wanting to try this card for a bit. And then I'm also playing a single copy of Predict here because we are still playing 3 baubles. We're a 4 ponder, 4 brainstorm deck, so having 1 Predict seems reasonable to me. And then the sideboard is pretty much the sideboard I played in my last Turbo video. So this is a sideboard that, against any tempo deck, pivots into, like, away from Doomsday and into this Shouldered Barrow Goyf removal plan. I've been pretty happy with how that has played out. I think it's a decent enough strat versus Dimir, both tempo and reanimator. But yeah, so I think that's enough. Let's go jump into a league. All right, on the play for round number 1. Oi, oi, oi. Oh man, I don't think I can keep this. All right, I'll keep this. And I guess I'll bottom 1 Demonic Counsel. And then, yeah, let's do that. And I really would like to be able to find a blue card for Force of Will here. I have both Mishra's Bauble and the Street Wraith to do that. I'm actually going to bauble myself. Yeah, let's bauble ourselves here. Snow-covered swamp. That is probably the land that I want to fetch here. So let's do that. We're drawing a card with the bauble. It's a blue card. Okay. We're also pretty close to Lotus Pill, to having the Demonic Counsel be delirious. Dark Ritual. Okay. Let's see where this goes. Orcish Bowmasters. Let's cycle the Street Wraith in response. I draw an Underground Sea. I think I do just force here. The Brainstorm is going to be like a not very interesting card after this. If this Bowmasters resolves. Okay, Bowmasters is countered. They have another Dark Ritual. Oh no. And a Doomsday. Okay. Alright, so we can Demonic Counsel for Predict, and maybe that does something. They have 0 like lands, 0 mana in play. Alright, so this is a tempo Doomsday, as the Bowmasters sort of indicated. Let's see, I see 3. I see all 4 Force of Will are in exile. I see 2 Dazes. Not sure if this deck plays more than 2. I see no Cavern of Souls, so I'm guessing they're making a little bit of a slow pile here. This actually seems pretty close to a list I was playing for a while. It has the main deck Barrow-Goyfs, but this also has main deck Kaito. I don't see an LED. Am I just not seeing it? So maybe they aren't going for a Cavern of Souls win. I don't know. Oh, and they're still stacking their deck even through all this. Okay, so it wasn't simple. I don't know. Okay, and they're passing. There's a pretty big chance that I just get thought seized on the next turn, but I still think I probably have to cast the Demonic Counsel. So I'm going to do that. And it is nicely delirious here. There's an artifact, a land, and a creature, and an instant. And I'm going to get Predict. And so if my opponent thought seizes me, there is a chance that I get to draw like a Lotus Petal next turn, and then just play the Jace, and then Jace can maybe kill them. Okay, let's see here. We're going for Predict. Predictorino, and we pass. Don't thought seize me. Oh, it's Tamio. Okay. All right, now it is just not easy to figure out exactly when I'm supposed to predict here. I would love to predict with a cycler on the stack or some other draw effect. I guess we can probably count on them drawing before their next turn. Like, I think I might just wait until they have 1 card in the deck and they go to draw a card. I'm gonna flash in this Omen of the Sea. And maybe I'll find a Lotus Petal. I don't think it matters if they have Bowmasters here. But I think my best find is maybe it's Force of Will. I don't even know, like, because maybe the plan I just envisioned is pretty nice. That's also a land. I could just play Jace. We know they don't have a Force of Will, but I don't know. I think I'm going to bottom both of these. I don't think Jace is going to be the plan. There's a Brainstorm. Okay. I could cast that right now. No. Let's take our draw step. Bobble. Oh, okay. That makes this a bit interesting. I think I'm going to let them draw. Yeah, I'm going to let them draw here. I just hope they go for the clean kill. Please cycle. No, they just put Thassa in, of course. I mean, I could Force of Will this, and then what, they have another Thassa, maybe? This is probably going to be a Thassa on top of them. Yeah, okay. And then what? I have 3 Dazes and 3 Force of Wills to hit. I'm going to predict the Thassa. And then I have a Brainstorm as well. I know they don't have Force of Will. So the only thing they could possibly have here, I think it would be a Daze. If they have 2 Dazes, that's kind of nasty. But I do need to hit as well. Like, I do need to get lucky, even if they don't have Daze. Alright. Thassa's Oracle. Come on, show me a Daze or a Force. That's neither. I think I just have to go all in here, right? Or I'm dead. Okay, I'm gonna cycle the Edge of Autumn and draw with sacking the swamp here. There's Doomsday. Okay. This is my last play here, is trying to find Force or Daze off this Brainstorm. But if they have the Daze themselves, then this shuts that door. I'm kind of suspecting they do, because they were like, yeah, there they go. Okay, you got me. Yeah, they were like taking pauses. Let's see if I would have gotten there. Okay. Client is not letting me draw cards here. Okay, doesn't matter. Alright, I think we want... Do we want removal? Probably, right? Because they're going to be a removal deck. But they're also probably going to remain a Doomsday deck. Should I remain a Doomsday deck? I think I'm going to board in very lightly here. I'm going to board in 2 Shieldreds, and then I might go full ham on creatures. If there is a 3rd game, I'm going to board out a Consider and Lionside Diamond. I think a turn 1, like a Resolved Doomsday on turn 1 here is probably going to win me the game. Perhaps even on turn 2 it's going to win me the game, and the same with a Resolved Shieldred. So let's see if we can get lucky. No, but I'm not upset with this hand. I'm going to keep it. I'm just going to get Underground Sea here and cast Thoughtseize. Brainstorm, Null Rod. I think I take their Tameo here and pass. They main deck the Brainstorm. Interesting. Well, there's a Doomsday. I'm just going to cast this. It's a good chance they could have an answer, but they might also not, and I feel... Yeah, I don't know. Okay, so they had a Force, so it's a 2 for 2 at least. What do they throw away here? Kaito. That's not the fetch land I saw before. No green lands in the exile pile I saw before. They could have been hiding them. They had cards in their they had cards in hand, one of which were a Daze, but I think there were 2 more. All right, gonna cast the Brainstorm here. That's, I suppose, is okay. And probably just put back these 2. The Jason, the Edge of Autumn, and I'll play the Bauble. Like, I can always just activate it in response to Null Rod. We do have to worry about Orcish Bowmasters. Okay, so it's like that. The problem with Bauble, you can't really get around the Bowmasters, so I think maybe I just crack it. or now. I don't know. If they have Bowmasters, I think I'm supposed to force. Sewers puts away a Lotus Petal. Yeah, I don't know. Giving them more turns to draw Bowmasters doesn't seem great here. Null Rod. Okay. That kind of forces the issue. That also means I can daze. Like if I had daze, they're playing into. Oh, look at that. It's an Orcish Bowmasters that they're drawing. Probably not, because I'm thinking they're probably going to fetch here. Or did they know about that? Hang on, from that. No, they just surveilled. They shuffled and surveilled. I draw Edge of Autumn here. Oh, I guess they had the like Bowmasters anyways. I'm gonna oh, this is what is this? Dark Ritual? Is that to play around a daze? Bowmasters, they might just have like another copy of Bowmasters. I think that makes more sense than them trying to play around a daze. I guess not. That's very interesting. Okay, I'm gonna cycle the Street Wraith. A land gets me Jace here. Ponder. Okay, I guess I'll take it. Okay, so this is Dark Ritual Doomsday. Am I think maybe I'm just supposed to like draw both of these and Doomsday now. Like they could have a Flusterstorm or something, but they wouldn't though, right? Because I Force of Willed, they could have flustered that. Cycling the Edge. Casting Dark Ritual. And Dumodeo. Alright, so we want the Thassa, we want Cavern. We probably want a fetch land. Maybe we want like... No, we don't want another land because the Cavern plus the Underground Sea is... They're going to cast the Thassa. Or the Jace, I mean. There is a world where we Thoughtseize them. Draw Thoughtseize. Cast it. Then draw the fetch land. No, that is like too many turns, I think. How about a Cycler? So we draw Misty Rainforest. I don't think we can't afford for it to be, it has to be a Street Wraith, I think. Yeah, it's hard. We have to play around stuff here, but like we draw Misty, then we draw Street Wraith, we cycle Street Wraith into Thassa. No, hang on. We can't do this. We can't do the thing. So we draw Misty, and then we pass, and then we draw Thoughtseize. And so the deck is Cavern, Thassa, Underground Sea, and we fetch. Yeah, okay. We do this, then we might lose to a Daze. But this is a way where we beat, like, if they have a Consign to Memory or something. And we can always just, like, chill. Let's do this. We are at an effective 4 life here if we want to Thoughtseize as well as fetch. We will have to fetch. So if they like just play an Orcish Bowmasters on their next turn, that takes us to 6 life. Then we draw a fetch land, that means we're at 5. Then we take a hit, we're at 3. We take another hit, we're at 1. That's probably okay. Looks like they're just passing for now. I'm passing. No end of turn action here, that's good for us. Like, a Doomsday plus a Cycler here just wins the game for them, I'm pretty sure. So that's what we have to hope they don't have. Black mana, they're unearthing Bowmasters. Okay. I think that's 1 turn too slow. That's pretty sweet tech with the unearth. So now I'm drawing Thoughtseize. And so I'm at 5 right now with the fetch land, which I guess I don't have to use. I can also Thoughtseize now, and then it's like, okay, Thoughtseize now I'm at 4. They attack me down to 2, and then I fetch down 1. I guess I lose if they then have another Bowmasters, right? I Thoughtseize down to 4. They Bowmasters ping me down to 3 and then attack me for 3. There is only 1 Bowmaster accounted for. And they are playing the full 4. So what happens if I just go Bowmaster, or not, I don't Thoughtseize. I just take my 2 damage here on their next turn. I then fetch down to 3, and then I play Thassa. Let's say they counter her. Then there is 1 card left in the deck, and it's Cavern of Souls, and I can try and win with Jace. I'll be at 1. That still loses to another Bowmasters, but I think I pass. Yeah. I mean, maybe this is just wishful thinking, but I think they flash in second Bowmasters to deal 2 more damage there, or like 1 extra damage that wouldn't have otherwise been dealt. So what happens if I Thoughtseize them here, and they have another Bowmasters? I don't. Well, I do die because then I can't fetch. If I Thoughtseize them and they have Force plus Daze, then I lose. I still think I actually do think I'm going to Thoughtseize here. That's really tough call. Oh my god, will you get the fuck out of here? Okay, GG's opponent. Double Daze, huh? Well, in that case, I don't think I had any line that won there. No, actually, that's not true. I just, like, take my next draw step, which is the Cavern of Souls. But, yeah, not too bad. Alright, off to round number 2. On the draw for round number 2, I don't think I can keep this, unfortunately. So, mulligan, and I'll keep this. And I think I get rid of one of the fetched lands, and there we go. Ponder, off of Underground Sea. Perhaps another Doomsday deck, but probably not. No shuffle. Do I feel like casting Ponder? I think I probably do. I'll take another Force of Will and then draw this Brainstorm. Let's pass. Wasteland. Boo, okay. Fortunately, we have more lands. Another Ponder. Shuffle on the Ponder. Pass. There's another Force of Will on top of the deck that I don't think we want. The only question is, do we want to play off of basics here, or do we want to Thoughtseize? Oh no. I think I'm just gonna get Basic Island here and try and cast this Brainstorm while there's no Bowmasters anyways. Okay, I'm actually going to hide. I'm gonna hide the Daze. I think there's most value in them not knowing about a Daze out of the cards here in my hand. Here's where they're playing Cabal Therapy. Yeah, they take the obvious take, which is Dark Ritual. I get that. I'll play the Delta Error. I don't want to draw the Lotus Petal, I don't think. There's a Sewers. Put Delta into the graveyard. Entomb. I don't think so. And I will fetch here. Demonic Counsel not on currently. I have Sewers. There is a Council. I think I put that in the bank. Just need a Bauble or a Petal. Although, like, peddling this out doesn't feel very good. Okay, they kept a card on top of their deck. And they're passing. Of course, there was a second Council. Well, Street Wraith. Mishra's Bauble. I let them Brainstorm grudgingly. Entomb. I'm just gonna say no thank you to that. And probably lose, having 2-for-1 myself twice versus this deck. Another Daze. Hits just keep on coming. Third Entomb, yeah. Alright. I don't think they play Animated Dead anymore, which is a card I could hope that they would have, that I could then Daze. And a Brainstorm. Maybe I Daze that, just they won't get to flip Tameo, and I get to replay my Undersea Sewers. Doomsday, okay. There's a chance, I guess. I think I'll keep Ponder on top. I'm dead at any point to an enemy. Wow. Metamorphosis Fanatic, really? Yeah, alright, GG's. I guess I'll see what the Traxor reveals. Bowmasters, all the stuff you'd expect. Okay. Concede. And I think I board in everything except the Forces of Negation. And I'm going to board out all the Doomsday stuff. We'll see where that leaves us. Alright, so I boarded out 2 copies of Force of Will, because I am boarding in other stuff that kind of messes with their combo. I like having just a couple of copies. If you establish sort of a hold on the game, like if I get dominance on the board, then getting Force of Will there is really good. And I like keeping in the Street Wraiths to pair with Barrowgoyf. Yeah, let's try this. Yeah, I'll keep this. It is a little bit soft to a fast Entomb, but I think otherwise somewhat solid. Has mana. Ooh, I do like that. Yeah, let's so if I draw Undercity Sewers now, yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'm too fixated on this Cavern plus Shoulder. It's going to be a hot minute before I can get her into play, but I still think I take this. By the time it's my 4th turn, a Shieldred might just not matter. Tamiyo. I think I let her resolve grudgingly. And then Snow-Covered Swamp. Okay. Wasteland. And Thoughtseize. I think I Petty Theft Tamiyo here. Yep, they can Thoughtseize my days. This is now the one turn where they're just not allowed to have another Thoughtseize. Pretty please, and thank you. Ponder. No Thoughtseize, it looks like. Okay. Well, here comes a Phyrexian through this cavern. Might want to crack that clue. Nope, no cracking of the clue. Maybe they just have Fatal Push in hand. Or Entomb. I mean, why wouldn't they have Entomb? Alright, I'm gonna draw here, but I can't really, there's nothing I can really find that matters. Okay, they get Archon probably? Yep. Good thing I already cast my Brazen Borrower. Wasteland, okay. That means that she gets smoked. And Tamiyo. Okay, so they didn't have the animation spell. That's at least something. Barrowgoyf. I think I like Barrowgoyf here. Barrowgoyf can be killed by that Fatal Push if they can rebuy it. Here's Tamiyo. Oh my goodness, the party goes on. So what, they brainstormed and then cast into, yeah, okay. Alright, what do we need? If we get an artifact, we can grow the Barrowgoyf, and Barrowgoyf can then kill Tamiyo. Maybe I just cast Brainstorm and see if I can set that up with Predict here. Looks like I can. Problem is I also really don't want this Undercity Source in my hand, but I guess that's fine. Lotus Petal. I'm gonna predict the Lotus Petal. Away. Oh, hang on. I make a land drop so that I don't get gotten. Okay. Lotus Petal. Draw Force of Will and Undercity Sewers. Well, let's attack Tamiyo, the Seasoned Scholar, and she dies. And then I guess I Thoughtseize you. You have Barrowgoyf, but only 2 lands. So I'm basically screwed the first time you draw a land. And you Entombed, so you're drawing blindly. I guess I take the Brainstorm here, but I'm not holding up high hopes here. Oh, just ah, god damn it. Do I have any? No, I have nothing that deals with that. All right, GG's. Wow, tough beats. All right, on the play for round number 3. Backs against the wall here for a positive finish. I'm gonna keep this hand, and I think I bobble the opponent, and that will inform my potential ponder here. Mystic Sanctuary. That can either mean control as we understand control to exist today, or it can mean show and tell, I guess, or some kind of combo deck. That's pretty good. Yeah, let's just, I guess I want to, like, if I draw, I'll be drawing all three of these. I'll just draw the predict first. Then I'll draw the petal on the opponent's next upkeep, and I'll draw Doomsday. Tropical Island, so probably some kind of beanstalk deck. Oh, I know I'm just an old man here, having played Legacy for a while, but all of these, like, turn one brainstorms just hurt my eyes. I mean, the opponent might have a Lorien revealed, but I think mostly they're probably just worried that I'm a Bowmaster's deck. That's my guess. Okay, so I do believe we are supposed to put Doomsday on the stack here. Okay, so Thassa plus what, Thoughtseize maybe? And Cavern of Souls. And what, Edge of Autumn maybe? And a Street Wraith. Okay, so how does this work? Let's say I draw Thoughtseize. And then I predict away a Cycler, and I draw Cycler plus Cavern. And then I play my Undercity Sewers. Thassa's the last card. I leave that on top. Then I can untap, draw the last card, have Force and Thoughtseize. That seems reasonable. That might get screwed over by Wastelands here, but we'll see about that. I guess I would rather predict away. I guess with this plan, having the two Cyclers is overkill. One of them is going to be predict fodder, and the other one I'm going to draw, but like if my plan happens, then I won't need to use it. But I think maybe having them as backup in case something goes wrong here is fine. Okay, I'll be predicting away the Street Wraith. Let's pass. Misty Rain Forest. I'll just play this, and I will leave the Street Wraith on top. And I will pass. And if they have Bowmasters or anything else here, I can, respond to that. Okay. I think I cast this predict right now with no Bowmasters available to the opponent. Street Wraith. And that leaves one card left in the deck. Alright. Let's go. They have to have something good here. If they have some way to make me draw a card and then have Force of Will, that would do it. Teferi. I mean, I'm just going to force, because my force is going to be dead anyways, but I don't think it'll matter. They're tapped out. I guess if they have Endurance, then it's not insignificant. Though, I guess it kind of is. Okay, then they had the Endurance. Alright, cool. Well, my deck is going to be 4 cards big, but I'll be drawing 2 next turn, so it's all good here. I'll be casting Thoughtseize first in case they have a second Endurance. What is this? Oh, it's Leyline Binding. Yeah, we'll take the Brainstorm and make this friend uncounterable, and then sack a land. Yeah, alright, cool. So my sideboard plan, unfortunately, doesn't really have a lot against the Beanstalk deck with white in it. It actually has, like, nothing, which is not so encouraging. I don't know if I'm supposed to, like, bring in 1 or 2 Shieldreds just as something that can, like high variance could get there kind of thing. Or I think probably not. I think I'm better off, like, just making they're going to keep in Leyline Binding. They're going to perhaps even keep in some number of Source of Plowshares. I'm not sure. And I think I'm just better off blanking those cards. It's unlikely that I'll get to resolve. Um, it's unlikely that I'll get to resolve a Shieldred without using Dark Ritual, so it's going to be like a blowout if I lose it to a removal spell that even, like, and imagine if it also draws them a card. Okay. I've, by the way, kept this hand, which I think looks pretty decent. Ooh. Omen of the Sea. New flashy toy. I am just going to bobble myself here. Underground Sea. Do I want that? I think I don't. So I think I will fetch. And I probably get Undercity Sewers here. Just for extra selection-y goodness. Lotus Petal. I think that can go too. Don't think we want that. Alright. And they get their Sanders Lounge. I draw a card. It's an Underground Sea. The very card I was trying not to draw. Uh-oh. Oh, it's up the Beanstalk. I think I let this resolve grudgingly. Like, I hate playing against this card, but I don't think my hand looks very good. If I blow a force there. So let's see. I think I ponder here. It's tempting to try and set up the Omen of the Sea, but it's practically the same. Okay, so I get to draw Doomsday here, and then next turn I could do something that like Doomsday's plus Demonic Counsel here. We're not quite delirious yet. We need an instant in the graveyard. Maybe I do try the demonic, or sorry, the Omen of the Sea now. Yeah, so this is a bit of a punish if they have Orcish Bowmasters, but something tells me this black mana is mostly there. Like, this is a Savannah list. This is mostly there just to enable 1 mana Leylines. And if they want to like cycle a Leyline to get rid of my Omen of the Sea that also just cycled, then I'm not too worried about that. Okay, do we want any of this? I think we bottom, to be honest. There's a Street Wraith. Okay, I mean, that enables Delirium. They have 6 cards in hand. I am quite concerned on whether or not I'll be able to wade through what they have in store for me. Let's cycle this. And then I think I'm gonna, let me just check here. Creature, sorcery, artifact, land. Yeah, I'm gonna cast Demonic Counsel. And then probably just get like a Thoughtseize. I could also try and get, what's this? Endurance. Oh, to make it so that this card is countered. And if I force, they probably have Pyroblast. You know what? I think I'm gonna let this happen. This is an endurance that's in play, so it's certainly not nothing. It counters my spell. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm going to ponder looking for a Daze. And then if I find it, I'm gonna try and just go for my Doomsday here. Or even better, if I can get them to commit the Pyroblast to this ponder. Oh, I couldn't, but there is a Daze. So now I'm gonna Dark Ritual Doomsday. They probably have Force of Will. I'll force pitching the Thassa. We still have Jace that can win the game. And then I will Daze a Pyroblast. Okay, here's Doomsday. Doomsday just resolved. Very interesting. Okay. I'll be at 8, and they have a 3-power creature. This is also Omen of the Sea is what's the word? Devotion is the word I'm looking for. It's Devotion 1. I wonder what they have that they're just happy to let this resolve. It could just be they're not sitting on a Force of Will. Leyline Binding makes Jace a little bit of a you know, weak proposition. They wouldn't. They would force. I would, because of, if for nothing else than because of Up the Beanstalk. So they, I think they don't have force of will. So what does that mean for us? And how do we want to do this? I think there are limits to how much life loss I can take here. Oof. So I'll be at 4 with the force of will if I need to use that. Let's say that I draw. They probably have a second endurance. I mean, well, maybe. But I think you probably use the endurance there anyways, just to counter the Demonic Counsel. Yeah, I don't know. The problem is, what am I even really doing here? What happens if I just untap and cast Jace, and then I go like plus, then they have Leyline Binding and I force it? If that happens, then I will be at 5. I'll pass, they'll attack me down to 2. No, 1 because of the force. So I can no longer Street Wraith. Maybe that's okay though. I could also just make like this petal be a force of will. And so they only have 1 red mana right now, so let's say I draw the force of will, then I Edge of Autumn into the Jace, and then I have double force. I think I'm going to try that. Might not be good enough, but maybe good enough. I guess I'll put Edge of Autumn on the bottom. Hey, that rhymed, right? And then Street Wraith. And then, yeah, maybe I'll just draw the Jace and then have second force of will is something I can cycle into. Problem though with double force is that it means I'm dead to a second attack of the endurance. This takes me down to 5, double force takes me down to 3. They are just passing, not making a land drop. Let's see here. I'm gonna try this. Let's see where that takes us. Maybe considering, like, if they have Pyroblast, Force of Negation. Okay, I'll force back, pitching the Thassa, which is risky, but I kind of want the days here. Yeah, I think this probably doesn't end well, but what I would like to do is to not double force, because being at 4 life probably kind of matters. Okay, so if I just Jace right now, I don't think it matters, because I think the last 2 cards in my deck are 2 cyclers, right? The bottom one is for sure. I think pretty sure I put Street Wraith on top, but they have a Leyline Binding, I'm pretty sure. And if they have a Leyline Binding plus a force, then it just doesn't matter either way. Just in case I'm misremembering, I am gonna cycle the Edge. I should probably take in one of the Underground Seas. Okay, let's see here. This is where they probably have to use their Leyline, if they're smart. No? Well, in that case, I am gonna pass with my Edge of Autumn and Force of Will up. Like, they still can only Leyline Bind once with this Savannah. They didn't play a land last turn. They can't kill Jace with 1 attack. They can't kill me. There might be reasons not to wait there, but Surgical and Force of Will. Yep, you got it. If they have Pyroblast plus Leyline Binding, that also works. They need 2 things that get rid of Jace here, because I have the Edge of Autumn. Okay, so there is second endurance, but hang on. Second endurance, I cycle Edge. Now they can't Leyline Bind, they Pyroblast. Then they also have to have Force of Will, which they might have. But if that's the case, then me waiting with this Edge doesn't really matter. I think I'm just gonna make them have it. They need Force plus Pyroblast. In which case, like, at least my Jace. Oh, is this Consigned to Memory maybe? That's kind of the same. Wait, what? What does Lore and Reveal getting a land do here? Mystic Sanctuary, okay. And then I win. Okay, never mind. They just wanted to go out with a game action. Sweet. On the scoreboard. On the play for round number 4. Yeah, I think we keep this. We're like a land or a petal or a dark ritual away from turn 2 Doomsday. I think I actually bobble myself here to increase the odds. Demonic Counsel. So I will have land, creature, artifact. No, I don't think I want that right now. I am going to risk the wasteland here and get sewers. And we'll leave that land on top. Alright, pass. And I'm saving the second bauble because sometimes having a bauble post Doomsday is really sweet. Candy Trail. So this is an Urza's Saga deck that plays basic swamp. So does that mean it's like a storm deck? Probably. I forget, what does this do again? They get to scry 2 and then they can eventually pay mana to gain 3 life and draw a card. Sure. There's LED. Do you also have the Echo? Okay, no. They scribed 0 to the top, by the way. Okay, so I draw 4, Brainstorm here. So that means I just get to win right now. No fancy bauble stuff. So we cycle into Lotus Petal, cast Brainstorm, which is in our hand already. We draw Consider, LED, and then another Cycler. Why don't we make that an Edge of Autumn? And then the final card of the deck is Thassa's Oracle. The most standard of standard piles here. Bottom of the deck is Thassa, Edge on top, then Lotus, or rather Lines of Diamond and Consider, and then we have Lotus Petal as the top card. If I hadn't drawn the Brainstorm, I would have stacked the deck with 2 blue cards, one of them being Force of Will, and I would have cracked the Bauble and Cycle Street Wraith, and then had, like, pass the turn with Force of Will. We drew a Brainstorm, so we just get to do this. Put back a blank and Consider, cycle the Edge, and cast Consider. Yeah, okay. They concede. Alright, so we're up against an Echo of Eons type deck. They probably have Bowmasters, and they certainly have Echo of Eons. They have Urza's Saga as well. I think I want the Forces of Negation and the Grafdigger's Cage, and then, like, the 2 copies of Shieldred seem decent. Barrowgoyf to kind of tangle with potential Saga tokens might be a thing, but might also not be a thing. This is already like a lot to bring in. I think we are okay cutting Jace here as the secondary win condition, and we're probably okay cutting a Bauble. Predict. How many blue cards does that make it? 20 right now. Probably don't want to cut any more blue cards. I guess we'll cut a Demonic Counsel and one of each Cycler. There's an argument to be made for cutting lands, but I'm kind of not too hot on that. I think I would worry about, like, getting mana screwed. Okay, I think this is a hand I keep and then potentially get, like, really punished if they're just on the Saga plan. Or obviously if they have the turn 1, which it looks like they do. Duress, okay. So they get to take my best card. They might just take, like, Grafdigger's Cage and then go, or Thoughtseize, and then go, like, Bowmasters. Oh, another Dark Ritual. Wow, they just had the whole shebang. Okay, I mean, Wishclaw Talisman is interesting here. Do they go for the Echo and give me a Talisman? Or do they have, I guess, Beseech the Mirror? Probably just, yeah, that just wins the game, right? No, it looks like they're going for Echo. I think that's why they kept... Okay, no, never mind. Beseeching away the LED rather than the Vault of Whispers. And then they can just replay, they can get Gay as well, and everything is honky-dory. Yep. I trust my opponent knows how this works. He's going to yield and concede the second I see Tendrils of Agony. Okay. Opponent had the turn 1 kill with a Duress. That is hard to beat. I don't think I change anything, and they now know we're playing Grafdigger's Cage, but they would have to assume that most decks have some kind of graveyard interaction that comes in versus them, so. Alright. Can I get a good hand here? Yeah, I think so. This is worth keeping. So let's go for a turn 1 Thoughtseize. Then we have Force of Negation as well. Burning Wish. I mean, if we take the Duress, we pretty much let them know that we have a counterspell. What does this hand do otherwise? They have 2 tutors, Wishclaw plus Burning Wish. They go Vault of Whispers, Mox Opal, that's not on until they also play the Chrome Mox. They have to imprint something. Say they imprint Duress. Then they can go like Cabal Writ. So they have 3 mana, that's 4 mana. That's not really, this hand isn't doing that much. I think I'd take the duress, let them figure it out. Bolt of Whispers, Chromox. What gets imprinted? The Cabal Writ. There is Opal, Wish Claw, Talisman. Is this the counter? They have 2 cards, one of them is Burning Wish. I think I do counter this. If they have like a Veil of Summer, that's pretty annoying, but not gonna play scared. So their hand is Burning Wish plus 1 extra card. Ooh, and I draw a good one. So I mean, we go for it here, right? We go Dark Ritual Doomsday, and then we probably ponder and grab a Daze, which is obviously not great, but it's like that can at least do something, and then we just cycle into the win. I'm going to fetch first because I'm going to be casting Ponder post Doomsday, and I don't want to shuffle. And we're pretty much giving up on like any kind of protection here. If they have something that interacts with Thassa's Oracle, they probably just have us. Let's see here. We have 2 cyclers. Deck will have 1 card left in it, but that's okay. What am I getting here? Daze, yeah. And we'll, I don't know. I guess we'll put a Force of Will. Does it matter? No, it won't matter. All right, we'll have exactly. We'll be dead to an Echo of Eons if that resolves. Hang on. Do I care? Can I stop that from happening? Like they can cast Burning Wish next turn. They probably have Echo in the sideboard. They have 1 unknown card. It's going to be 2. If either of those is a Lineside Diamond, I think we just lose the Echo. Even if I don't, it doesn't matter if I ponder or not post Doomsday. Like Doomsday will be the 1 card in the graveyard, and then there will be 5 in the deck. That's 6, and then the ponder in my hand. So that means exactly 7, which means once I untap for my turn, I'll die. But that I'm committed to that now. I should have thought about that before if I wanted to have a chance to play around it. Let's make them think about things. We'll put a Force of Will in there as well. So put Force on the bottom, then Thassa, then the 2 cyclers, and then the Daze. I mean, Daze could still work here. If they, what would they need to do? They go for Burning Wish for Echo. That leaves 2 mana on, like 1 mana untapped. If the 1 card in their hand is like another Mox Opal, and then they draw land, then my Daze is live. It's exciting. I probably Daze just about anything here. Oh no, Dark Ritual. Okay, I don't think I Daze that. All right, hang on. So this is they're going for a Tendrils line, right? So let's see if right now they have 4 mana. Dark Ritual becomes 6. Yeah, okay. No, it became 7 because I can't do math. Oh, what a bummer. Yeah, I couldn't beat that. They had 2, and then yeah, I wasn't counting on the untapped mana as well. Or I mean, there was 2 mana left, and because my brain always shortcuts like Dark Ritual is +2, but that didn't take into account that they had already paid their 1 mana, so it was +3 of what was showing. And this is exactly lethal. And opponent knew not to mess around here. GG's. All right. Well, let's go for the final round. Yeah, let's keep this hand. I think this game, I'm going to start off by bobbling the opponent, because that will help me on my decision on what to Thoughtseize out of their hand. They are getting a Pithing Needle, okay. Now, this concerned me that this might be lands, and if that's the case, then my 1 single dual land here is looking a little bit frail. Okay, it's not, but it is a sort of the One Ring Karn the Great Creator deck. Let me just see here. This will tap for 2 once they have Metalcraft. Trinsphere, wow, it's a lot of stuff that I don't want them to resolve, but they don't have a lot of mana right now. They're drawing Pithing Needle, which also doesn't make any mana. I think it has to be Chalice, but that Grim Monolith was also pretty tempting. Alright, I'll pass. They probably, having seen this, will assume I'm a tempo deck, and they will go Pithing Needle on Wasteland, would be my guess. Or is this Workshop? There's Pithing Needle. No, Street Wraith. Okay, so they're wise to what I'm up to here. Interesting. Okay, well, basic island makes me want to... Oh, thanks a lot. Think I will... What's the choice here, really? I think maybe it's actually days. And then I'll draw a Force of Will, and then I'll predict away Flooded Strand. So I think there's a risk that they just have 3 mana on this turn here. Or is this Tower? Yeah, Grim Monolith. I'm going to let that enter, and then I'm going to daze the Trinisphere. So this is an angry artifact deck with Chalice and Trinisphere in the main. Okay, I draw Force. There's a Flooded Strand on top of the deck, which I will predict away. And I'll have to force pitching Thassa if I don't draw a blue card. If they do, like, if they had drawn a land that makes 2 mana, for instance. Okay, here comes Predict. They're just passing Flooded Strand. Yeah, Brainstorm and Cavern. Cavern not too hot, but Brainstorm is nice. Especially if we can find a shuffling effect, or just Doomsday. Hey, there's also that, right? Oof. Second Edge of Autumn. Come on, Brainstorm, deliver. Well, at least we found a second, or a shuffler rather. Put away basic Swamp, and I don't hate having the 2 Edge of Autumns. I think I put away Lotus Petal. They have shown us Karn. And then I'll pass. Would be a nice time right about now to draw Demonic Counsel. There's Lotus Petal, okay. So 3 mana. Glaring Fleshraker. Okay. No, it's 4 mana because they have, that's interesting that they didn't choose to go for the Karn. If they're worried about days, that would make sense. I really need to hit a Doomsday, like, now. Street Wraith, no, you're switched off. Demonic Counsel, Doomsday, the Brainstorm, okay, we'll take it. There is Doomsday, okay. So that just means we win. So we can go put away Thoughtseize and a land. We go land, Dark Ritual, Doomsday, and then we cycle Edge into blue card into Edge into Daze. Yeah. They don't have mana to cast Kozilek's command right now. Alright, Doomsday is on the stack. We know 2 of the 3 cards in their hand, so I don't think there's much to be worried about. Let's just make it Force of Will. Oh, hang on. What am I even saying? Ugh, Jesus Christ, I'm just completely off it right now. Yeah, this loses me the game. Holy cannoli. Yeah, I don't know. I just had it in my head. Oh, hang on. I'm not losing the game. Right? Well, maybe. I'm just thinking maybe I can do something with Jace here. Yeah, I can. I should be fine. But yeah, I was just like, my whole plan of like putting Thassa on the stack here would be with a 3-card deck, because I only have 2 cards that I'm drawing, and I made my land drops. I can't make it like a fetch land. All right, hang on. So we'll go like Lion's Diamond and Jace and Consider, and then the rest, they don't matter. Let's make them Force of Wills. So we will cycle Edge of Autumn, drawing Lion's Diamond. Cycle Edge of Autumn, drawing Consider. Cast Consider, sacking Lion's Diamond, putting Forceful in the graveyard, and drawing Jace. Alright, so Force of Wills, then Jace, then Consider. No, sorry, hang on. Then Force of Will, and then Consider, and then LED. Alright, and we sack the 2 Edge of Autumns. We draw the Consider and the LED. And then we have Xaxes here. Cast, Consider, sack, LED. Put Force into the graveyard, draw Jace, and then my deck is 1 card big. And I'm now going to mill that card and draw a card. Okay, sweet. So we want the 2 Force of Negations to come in. We might want Sheoldred, just because they are probably the 1 ring deck, and Sheoldred just also sometimes like solos things. Brazen Borrower can randomly bounce something troublesome here. We do have quote unquote Demonic Tutor in the deck, so we can go looking for it. I think we can get off a couple of the artifacts because of the opponent's proclivity for putting Karn the Great Creator in their deck. The Omen of the Sea, I guess, maybe comes out. 22 blue cards, that's okay. And let's get rid of the Thoughtseizes. On the draw, they just don't seem that good. Weak to Chalice, and they don't get to interact with the opponent on the first turn. Okay, I'll keep this Force of Will Daze hand. Okay, opponent is mulliganing. Wow, down to 5 cards. That's rough. Alright. Here we go. What's the plan, opponent? Another Pithing Needle, okay. Just please don't name Bloodstained Mire. How about that? Street Wraith again. Alright. Ponder. That's pretty good. I'll adjust my plan here and cast Ponder. Don't think we want any of these. Maybe that was hasty. We could have surveilled LED into the graveyard for enhanced delirium possibilities. Yeah, maybe I should have done that. Planar Nexus. So now we have Tron assembled. No, this is not a tower. This is a workshop. And this doesn't have Metalcraft. Okay, let's cast Brainstorm and please help me save this hand. Okay. Well. Shit. Let's put back Underground Sea and I don't know. Like Force of Will, maybe? Then we pitch Daze to Force and have a Daze. And I guess we just pass. Disruptor Flute. I'm gonna surveil first here off of Undercity Sewers. If I see something I like, I will not pick up the sewers. I think this can go into the graveyard. And in that case, I will Daze pitch or picking up. Yeah, let's get the surveil. They don't have a lot going on over there. There's also a world where we just let Flute resolve, but I think that's going to be trouble. There's a Saga and a Glaring Fleshraker. I'm going to let this resolve. I don't think going to 0 lands is going to be very good for me. Wow, I am drawing like shit. What if I just go... Hang on, what's the mana situation? Or Delirium, so sorcery, instant, and land. I think, honestly, I just go for Demonic Counsel right now. And pick up Doomsday. And then I surveil. And grab the Brainstorm, because Brainstorm's awesome. And then I have a win next turn. If opponent doesn't do anything too nasty. Did I sideboard out at my second edge? No, I did not. I really want my opponent to be tapping their mana this turn. I don't want them to have like Kozilek's Command. Okay, so the thing is, they're showing mana. They're also just showing like Urza Saga token here, like Construct token. But if they have Kozilek's Command, that beats me. If they have, I don't think they would have Disruptor Flute. I think they would have cast that before giving me the turn. So Kozilek's Command is what I'm trying to beat. If I wait one turn, if I like Doomsday Pass, I'm at 9. They make what is currently a 2/2 construct. It then becomes a 3/3 and a 4/4 construct. Does this say when you cast or when they enter? When another creature enters. So I'll be taking 2, I'll be at 7. And then they'll have... I don't think I can afford to do that. I think it's much too likely that they just kill me if I pass here. What I have to hope for is that they did something there that I could then force of will, basically. Okay, so I cycle Edge into Lotus Petal, cast Brainstorm, and just the pile we did earlier, and then if they have the Kozilek's command, they got me. Or if they have a flute that they're sandbagging, then they have that as well. Okay, so this is the pile. So we got Thos on the bottom with Edge, and then LED, Consider, and Lotus Petal. Here we go. Let's see if they feel like casting something here. It feels like they have something in their hand that they can cast, which makes me think it has to be Kozilek's command, but I am going ahead here. Put Consider there, and last chance for them to do something we can daze here before I lose my hand. Les jeux sont faits, as they say. Do you have the K command? Thos is in. They didn't have it. Alright, sweet. Alright. Well, at least we recovered a little bit of our honor here, but not a lot. Alright, well, a pretty disappointing showing, but I think at the end of the day, it's too early to really say much. I think Demonic Counsel was a little bit sluggish in this league. I don't think the Omen of the Sea really proved me wrong or right on that call. Maybe I would like to try that a bit more. I did feel a little bit of tension with blue count a couple of times when I was sideboarding, and yeah, I don't know. Not completely, down on this yet. I will probably try a couple more leagues and then see how it feels, but not too impressed either. Well, I think that's it for me. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please let me know any thoughts you might have on how else you would like the content on this channel to be, or what do you think of the video? What do you think of Legacy right now? What do you think about the bans, or rather the non-bans? And yeah, that's it for me. Stay safe out there, and I'll be back with some more Legacy. Bye-bye.